Good morning and welcome to this week's Grow, where we gather to recharge, organize, and work here as members of MWEG. We are so glad to have all of you with us this morning as we have Jennifer Walker-Thomas, one of our co-executive directors, with us today, who is going to give us just a quick update of some of the initiatives and things that MWEG has been working on recently that maybe you were unaware of that we wanted to share with you. We also wanted to give just a little update on our Hope experiment that we've been doing this summer and some of the events that we have that we can talk about. Some of the events we have had in conjunction with that and things that we have coming up. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the time over to Jen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We have had such a great summer. And at the beginning of the summer, the women who planned our summer programming put a lot of thought into what we might need going into the summer. And I think they hit the nail right on the head. Basically, they realized that in a democracy and in a social situation where we're asking people to engage and make change, one of the most important things that they need to maintain is a sense of hope and a sense of a belief that better things are possible and that we actually can make change. And so they designed a summer program with that in mind, that there wasn't an intent to necessarily focus specifically on achieving things, but on doing some repair to sort of our collective emotional health and helping to remind us that community is possible and that there are rich rewards when we work together and share a vision of the future. And that was how the Hope Experiment was born. It has been a really remarkable program this summer, and we've heard from so many of you that participating has been beneficial, that it has helped you to kind of reset. And we've had some great programming as a part of that, if you missed, you still have the opportunity to go back and look. There was a wonderful live podcast episode with Ava Weitzman. She did just such a remarkable job of helping us to understand how Hope for the Future is linked to our peacemaking efforts and the work that we do to improve the world and better it, make it more just and peaceful. There have been many lives that you could go back and review and find on Instagram, work that we're doing still with our immigration group, work that we're doing with our children and families group. But we have our final Hope Experiment event coming up, which we are very, very excited about and kind of want to share with you. And that is an evening with Jennifer Finlayson Fife. So we just want to share with you how that came about. At the very beginning of the Hope Experiment, many of you, we hope, took the opportunity to participate in our survey and share what were some of your concerns and some of the things that you wanted to work on. We found that almost, well, I wouldn't say overwhelming, but I would say a very, very significant number of the women who responded to that survey expressed that one of the sources of discouragement and despair for them was the fact that over the last few years, they had seen such fractures in their relationships, and that was one of the obstacles to them feeling hopeful, which was just such a good reminder of how much we are created as children of heavenly parents to think about one another, care for one another, be connected to one another. It's exactly how we were designed. And there are definitely forces in our society that seek to undermine that. And as they do undermine it, it weakens us collectively and it weakens us individually. Those relationships are the linchpin of our society, and they're the linchpin of our religious community, of our families. And the fact that our politics has been a source of undermining those is just really troubling. And so one of the things that we have strived to do over the course of the summer is to help you work on and repair relationships. And the cumulative effort is Jennifer Finlayson Fife, who just was so absolutely responsive in agreeing to speak to us about this. She's enthusiastic. She's excited to be here. She's excited to share her thoughts with you about what we can all do to help build relationships that can withstand conflict and tension and transcend it. So, Rachel, do you want to share the slide? Or do you just want me to talk through it? Oh, there we go. Okay. So these are the details about the event. It's going to be a virtual event. We wanted to do that specifically so that we could have people join us from across the country. And we already have a lot of women who have registered. So we hope you will join us for that. It will be on August 22nd at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And she will give us some tips and about what we can do to transcend conflict and build relationships that are healthy. We will probably have content that follows up on that we will share with you. So we hope that not only will you join us, but this is a really wonderful opportunity. This will not be a politically focused event. And so it's a wonderful opportunity if you do feel like you have people in your life that maybe this element of our society has brought tension into your relationships. This is a wonderful opportunity to maybe share an invitation to this event and telegraph to them that their relationship matters to you, and you would like to find ways to repair it and to build it. We've had some really great podcast episodes on the Proclaim Peace podcast, and one of them that we aired several months ago with Annie Wattups, who is also a senior director here at MWEG, talked about the possibilities for repair and how our human relationships are structured and built and our brains are developed so that we can actually not only repair relationships, but be stronger afterwards. So if you're feeling a little bit of despair, I'd also encourage you to go back and listen to that episode because it was really great. Okay, I'm trying to think, what else, Rachel? What else would you like us to share? I guess I will close this little hope experiment by saying that hope experiment will be wrapping up at the end of August, and we will then be launching a fall campaign that will be designed to help, again, get us all through the election season being productive, helping to preserve and build our democracy, also while preserving peace and preserving relationships. We want to have something on the other side of the election. And one of the things that MWEG is thinking a lot about is parties and party politics. Elections are scorched earth campaigns where basically it's kind of increasingly in our society a winner take all. And while MWEG is definitely invested in having positive democratic outcomes, small d democratic outcomes, making sure that we're preserving democracy in our elections and preserving the norms that keep us safe in a peaceful civil society. What we also want to make sure that we're always doing with our members is encourage you to recognize that there has to be something beyond that we have to go through these election seasons in a way that allows us to have steady ground to stand on the other side in terms of the other people that we live with in this country. So that's all going to be one of our big priorities this year. The final thing that is very exciting to share with you is we as an organization, we've shared this a little bit on social media, have never officially done a membership campaign. We have we initially there was this big growth burst on social media, and we had thousands of women, and then we had to figure out what to do with all of that energy and purpose and engagement, and we had to build an actual organization that could support that. We had to get legal standing, we had to build an operations team, we had to figure out how to connect with you guys off of social media, and we had to reach out to other organizations to build opportunities for you all to engage in the public sphere. And we've done that very, very effectively over the last 5 years. And our priority now is bringing more women into the fold. And we are interested in doing that for two reasons. The first is that we hear often when people find us, this really happens honestly at least once a week. Someone finds MWEG and their response is, I did not know you existed. I needed this. Oh my goodness, this is so important to me. And so we feel an urgency to find women for whom this will be a healthy, grace-giving environment. The second thing is that we have learned that MWEG is actually becoming an extraordinarily effective organization. It's got a remarkable reputation, particularly among pro-democracy circles, but increasingly also in many of our advocacy areas and in the peace-building community, bridge-building community. And the more women we have behind us, the more influential we are able to be. And so if you feel that you know women who are overwhelmed and don't really know how best to engage, they feel uncomfortable about our society and the way it's heading, but would like to make a positive influence, one of the very simplest things they can do is simply join MWEG, and then they will know that they're lending their name to a faith-based organization that is working in a nonpartisan way to build a peaceful and just society. And the more women we have behind us, the more influential we are when we sit down in meetings and we can say, hey, we've got women in all of these states, we've got chapters in these states, we've got thousands of members. It allows us to reach out to you, to find you, and to invite you into opportunities. And the one thing I would like to add is that it takes surprisingly few people often to make a change in our society or to do something influential, but it takes organizations to know who's willing to do that. And so that's what MWEG can do for you. It can be the facilitator. We can hear about opportunities, and then we regularly do this almost on a weekly basis, are then able to reach out to women in a certain state or a certain county and say, here's an opportunity. Would you be interested in it? And then it gives those women the opportunity to shine in a way and express their opinion and express their values and share their position on things in ways that they wouldn't have been able to do simply because no one would have known how to find them. So the final thing I will add about that is that we are increasingly hearing regularly on a regular basis from our partners that the women of MWEG have, I shared this on a live, are being referred to as kind of super citizens. The organizations that we work with, the legislators that we work with, are just overwhelmed often with the capacity that you show, the wisdom, the competence that you bring to conversations. So if you doubt yourself, and almost always the women we reach out to do, they say, "Oh no, nobody would really want to hear from me," or "I can't believe I have something to add." I am here to tell you, you absolutely do. And people are hungry and eager to hear your voices. So a membership campaign allows us to build that community, to find other women, and to be able to then contact them when we have opportunities. So over the next few weeks, we will be launching, we have launched, and we will be running this membership campaign. We're already seeing significant engagement and some growth, and we're really pleased about that. So we think good things are in store for MWEG. And most importantly, we think that MWEG is in a position to bring good things to the world. And that's our hope, and that's what we want to do.
Yes, thank you. And it was, as you were talking about that, those meetings that we can facilitate, the MWEG chapters help facilitate with state representatives and even with our federal state representatives. Those are things that we want our members to participate in, and we want the various points of view and experiences and voices to join us. And so this is MWEG such a great way of facilitating that you can. Before MWEG, I would have been like, I don't know how to have a meeting with my legislator. I don't know how to contact my representative or any of that. So there's so many resources that MWEG provides that I think if you can just pull in a buddy here or a buddy there. And I've found that even in my ward, my Relief Society, my circle of friends, just different ways. Like sometimes I'm not sure in the area where I live of people who would be open to it, but then I find somebody that starts asking some questions. And I think if you just share like, hey, I'm part of this organization, you can share maybe about the Jennifer Finlayson Fife event on your social media. Anybody, you don't have to be a member to join us. So we encourage all of you to share that with your friends and family. Watch with them, maybe if there's people that you have a little bit of tension or you're worried going into this election season. This would be a really great event that Jen was talking about to watch with them. So after you can have a conversation of of how it could be or how you maybe set boundaries. I don't know, but I think it will open some great points for discussion. So we just want to invite everybody to come and join us because, like Jen said, we appreciate the numbers of women behind us that are like-minded for democracy and peacemaking. So thank you.
Can I add one thing, Rachel? And that is when Rachel says like-minded, she doesn't mean that they all agree ideologically. In fact, MWEG, we actually have proof that our membership is quite evenly distributed across the political spectrum. And what they're like-minded about is principles and things that they're willing, the core values in our nation that they're willing to uphold. And then they work together across partisanship and across ideology to build that together. And that is what makes us actually much more effective when we're dealing with legislators or providing opinion pieces or helping women get connected to the press or inviting them to participate in other ways. The strength that MWEG has is that we can bring women from mostly basically the center left and the center right. They're mostly women who are not at the extremes, but who have strong political opinions that sometimes might not perfectly align with each other, but align with each other on that issue. And that makes us actually so much stronger and more effective as an organization. So we welcome women of diverse viewpoints to join us, and we hope that they will.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's what I also, one of those like-minded things is I almost just think of it like we just have our membership at the church and our faith, our faith basis is our like-mindedness, and then everything else we're so vastly different. And that was apparent. We just had the Across documentary. If some of you joined us on that or joined for those discussions, it was lovely to see women coming from one of the discussions we literally had across the entire US of the 15 women, and just to hear everybody's different points of view and where they're coming from and feeling from a faith, from a faith viewpoint, from an advocacy viewpoint, and from laws and immigration and those kind of things. It was just such a lovely discussion, and I think when you participate in those kind of things or the living room conversations, those are all ways where you'll see the diversity of our membership. So it's really great.
It's what we want.
Yep. So I put in the chat. Yeah, I put in the chat a link to the podcast episode that Jen had referenced with Eva Weitzman. And then there's also a link in the chat to register for the Jennifer Finlayson Fife event, which is free. It's a virtual event. It will be recorded, but hopefully you can join us live. So until then, we will be joined next week with our Director of Communications, Megan Seawright. So until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for joining us.